Hey YouTube, welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video with Mr. Terry as I continue my search for historical knowledge found here on the internet. Alright, I thought it was time to check out another video from Salmonella. Going through his videos, this one kind of caught my eye. It is titled Mass Hysteria Cases Throughout History. I don't know, right? People talk about humanity as pretty hysterical. A person is smart, but people are... insert adjective there. But yeah, I thought this caught my eye and definitely thought it'd be something to check out. So if you like this video, make sure you go down to the description and go to the link for the original video so you can give them like and subscribe. I'm sure you'll love Salmonella's videos. Good chance you might have seen one already, but if you haven't, definitely check that out. And if you haven't subbed to my channel yet, love to have you along as I continue again for my search to find as much great history content as I can, and hopefully add a little bit from a teacher's perspective as well. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get started with mass hysteria cases throughout history.
Hey kids, if you've
Hello.
ever been Black Friday shopping or visited the Diablo subreddit recently, chances are you've encountered mass hysteria at some point.
We've done both of those, right? Is there anything more cancerous than Black Friday crowds and video game forums? Ugh. If there is, I don't want to meet it.
Mass hysteria is known medically as mass psychogenic illness, or MPI for short. It's basically just when a bunch of people start acting a fool for no discernible reason other than maybe a...
This guy over here is just eating this meat. This guy's ripping his head off. This guy's beating another guy with a book. And this lady is, she's got issues.
stressful environment. Being that this sort of thing is naturally very noticeable, there's loads of documented cases found all throughout history. Let's take a look at a few. This first one is what made me make this video in the first place. So one day sometime in the Middle Ages, a group of nuns in a French convent were enjoying a quiet, uneventful day, until one of them decided to start meowing. You know, like a cat. You'd think this would last all of 4 seconds before another nun was like, "Excuse me, Sister Gertrude, would you kindly cut the shit?" But instead, another nun joined in, and another, until basically the entire nunnery was exchanging mouths like a group of communist trading card enthusiasts. This wasn't just a
communist trading card enthusiast? What? What?
Nunnery was exchanging mouths like a group of communist trading card enthusiasts. This
Oh,
wasn't just a
Mao.
one-time thing
Okay,
either.
okay.
It basically
China,
became
yeah,
integrated
communism.
into their way of life. It said that on a given day, they would stand there meowing in each other's faces for hours at a time. Could you imagine being the first outsider to witness this? You might laugh now, but as they say, everybody gangsta till the nuns start meowing. I'd void my bowels and move to Malaysia without even thinking. Miles more terrifying than this pile of garbage. As you can imagine though, after a while it stopped being scary and just got annoying, leading to the neighbors calling in a band of soldiers to deal with the situation. Hey guys, can we talk to you for a sec about yeah, that. All due respect, but we have orders to literally beat the hell out of you with whips till you start acting like people again. Sorry sir, it's just force of habit. Haha, habit. Seriously though, we would rather go to hell for throttling a gaggle of nuns than put up with another minute of your bullshit, caprese. Our next event took place in the parish.
So once one person started and then they all started meowing. Wait, so does that mean they stopped? Did they really whip all these nuns to stopping to meow? Oh gosh.
Of Fatima, Portugal in the year 1917. It all started with 3 shepherd children, ages 10, 9, and 7 respectively. They were like, "Greetings, fellow Portugueseites. We've been seeing visions of the Virgin Mary, and she told us to tell you that some real crazy shit's gonna go down in the sky on October 13th. Now, if 3 random farm children started spouting out prophecies to the public today, you'd say, "Ha! What tomfoolery. Go play in some dirt, you dirty little dirt baby." But keep in mind, the past is a different country. And Portugal's a different country. So that's like different country squared you gotta think about. Plus this was during World War I, a time where a lot of people were holding out for a miracle to begin with. So the kid's story was actually picked up and even spread by local newspapers, to the point where... So the kid's story...
Porch of geese found. People who think they're funny everywhere vanish mysteriously. vague, ill-defined thing to happen in sky pretty soon. Yeah, that happens with so many of those prophetic things, right? It's just, hey, something's gonna happen at some time in some place, right? People latch onto it.
It was actually picked up and even spread by local newspapers, to the point where, when the day finally came, at least 30,000 people gathered in Fatima to witness the alleged miracle. Lo and behold, on that day, the sun began zooming around, careening towards Earth and sending rays of multicolored light cascading across the sky, creating a light show like nobody's ever seen. Keep in mind, this happened in the 20th century, way after the era where belief in divine jiggery and or pokery was considered mandatory.
True.
So naturally, there were plenty of skeptics and non-believers present, and even they saw it all happen. Or so they thought. How do we know the sun didn't really whiz around haphazardly that day, Well, number one, use your frickin' brain. And number two, accounts differed wildly from person to person. While some say the sun zigged hither, others say it zagged thither, and others still said it shined a brilliant yellow and stayed perfectly still. As such, it was eventually concluded that the event was just a combination of MPI and weird eye stuff from too much sun staring. Although I'd like to believe it was real, just that Jesus' illusion skill was way higher than his alteration at the time.
Oh, Skyrim!
Yep, that's it. Sam's going to hell. Why, for blasphemy? Trust me, that was the least offensive part of that joke. Our next tale took place in 1962 in Tanganyika, which was basically just the beta version of Tanzania. The nation had just declared its independence from Britain the previous year, and with the future so uncertain, tensions were naturally running high around this time. One little girl in a Tanganyikan school ended up handling the stress in a bit of an unusual way. Rather than overeating or staring at her ceiling for hours like a normal person, she just started laughing, and laughing, and laughing. Pretty soon, her classmates at the all-girls school she attended began to join in.
Hysterical laughing is a totally real thing. Oh yeah, it's stress-induced, right? I've seen it happen all the time. Yeah, like it's a I don't know if it's some kind of psychological defense mechanism of when it's overly stressed situation and your brain's like trying to compensate your stress with some kind of release of humor. I don't know exactly how that works, but that's totally a thing. But again, getting a whole bunch of people, we all know laughter is kind of contagious anyways. Okay, this is so far actually kind of believable, right? But I'm sure it gets weirder, right?
To the point where 95 of the 159 students caught the giggles, which lasted anywhere from a few hours to 16 days straight. Beyond just the unprovoked cackling, other odd behavior included aimless running and occasional violence. The problem got so severe that the school was forced to close down temporarily, leading to the chortlers roaming the streets, spreading the affliction further. Thousands of people from all strata came to be affected, with 13 additional schools being shut down in the progress. Over the course of the hysteria, several other
Do we dare look at the school names and stuff?
With 13 additional schools
Dome Elementary 3 and Knuckles. Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog reference hype. University of Delaware. Just kidding. Engineers aren't allowed to laugh.
Being shut down in the progress. Over the course of the hysteria, several other symptoms began to present themselves as well, ranging from obvious ones such as breathing problems, fainting, random screaming, to more anomalous things like rashes. Despite all this, no physical cause could be found, leaving MPI as the only explanation. The epidemic finally died down after between 6 and 18 months of day in, day out laughter, depending on the village. While this whole thing likely sucked for most people involved, it probably could have been worse. A lot of the time when I'm alone, I'll think to myself, man, if I ever go full schizo, I hope I'm one of the laughy ones, not one of the screamy ones. With this story in mind, just maybe, if I put my mind to it and believe hard enough, I can be both. Flashback to the year 1518 to the city of Strasbourg, at the time part of the HRE. A woman named Mrs. Trophy began fervently dancing in the streets for no discernible reason, for hours, then days. All without music, of course. Her only breaks consisted of occasional food intake and passing out from exhaustion when night came. If you saw that today, you'd just be like, ha! Drugs. But apparently people found it pretty inspiring, because within a week, 34 others had joined in, and after a month, there were around 400. This wasn't your casual bobbing up and down neither. This shit made Zumba look like Tai Chi. Here's the best modern day simulation I could find. Now imagine that both of those people were the
Jeez.
same person and you got the dancing plague. This would take a toll on any healthy person, let alone a medieval city dweller. But despite bleeding feet and aching bones, they just kept going. And
What did they say? 400 people all of a sudden joining in and dancing in the Holy Roman Empire. Oh, wonder they collapsed.
in fact, they went so hard for so long that a good portion straight up fucking died from cardiac arrest. It got to the
Whoa.
point where around 15 dancers were kicking the bucket every day before the city decided they had to do something about it. They managed to rule out any divine or supernatural causes, which was necessary just because, back in medieval times, it was fucking stupid. They eventually...
Sir, that was their answer to all psychological issues in history, right? So many cultures. If you had any kind of, we have so many diagnoses for this type of hysteria or schizophrenia, all those things. But back then, different cultures usually inserted some kind of religious explanation, right? Come a long way with psychological analysis. But yeah, that was common in history, not just Christian communities, basically any religious community.
surmised that it was a natural disease caused by too much hot blood, as per that whole four humors thing that was popular at the time. As
Medieval Mid Ages doctor, Renaissance, almost era, plague era actually before that. We were actually looking at some of these in my class the other day, talking about doctors, like plague doctors, and like the masks these doctors wear. People were asking me what were those for actually in real life, if you've seen those. What they would do is put spices and stuff and different fragrances and stuff like this that they thought could help protect the doctor. So it was all stuffed in there, but it also made it look really horrifying. These masks and a doctor, as you're laying there almost dying, you see this thing, demonic looking thing coming up. But yeah, that was the practical use of it. At least so they thought it was practical.
Caused by too much hot blood, as per that whole four humors thing that was popular at the time. As for a cure, their prescription was, get this, more dancing. I can see where they were coming from. It's
Seems
pretty
legit.
sound logic. If you got a song stuck in your head, you play it till you're sick of it, same kind of thing. But here's where they goofed. The authorities actually went out of their way to facilitate the dancing, setting up a big stage area and even hiring musicians to keep the afflicted moving.
Do you think they all dance the same dance? Like a giant choreographed dance? See, that would be impressive if they just all did that for hours, but I'm sure it was just people spazzing out, right?
All this achieved was attracting more passerby who were like, man, mass psychogenic illness looks frickin' epic, let's get in on that, causing the contagion to become even more widespread. Seeing that their solution backfired, the city then went the other way and completely banned any public dancing. Those who still showed signs of the mania were subsequently carted off to the Shrine of St. Vitus, where an exorcism-like ritual was performed on them. This ended up being highly effective, presumably for no other reason than that the dancers believed it would work. And
you wonder if in these mass hysteria things, how many people are actually like being hysterical, I guess, and how many people are just faking it, copying it. Like people ask that about like not ventriloquists, what do you call it? Hypnotists, hypnotists, when you have this whole line of people, and how many are just playing along and how many are actually like being affected. And in these mass hysteria things, you wonder what ratio of people are really into it and who's just kind of faking it just to go along with it, or what they call it, being a Poe, right? Where you can't really tell if someone's legit or not. Yeah.
after nearly 2 months, the plague was quelled. While this whole thing was most likely a case of good old-fashioned MPI, some historians believe it might have been egged on in part by ergotism, a state of psychosis brought on by eating tainted bread, which I talked a little bit about in this video. Ding. And hey, while I'm shilling for my channel, I might as well give a shout out to another as well. Today's video was sponsored by Cheddar, a network focused on producing fascinating content covering topics like technology, products, businesses, and the like through the lens of innovation. Here's one about desire paths, you know, like those lines of dead grass from people taking more convenient routes through places. It's one of those things that plenty of us have thought about but never actually explored in depth like this video. Cheddar's full of intriguing stuff like that. I highly recommend giving them a look. If you're more science oriented, they still got you covered with their Cheddar Explorer series. This one's all about how we can be sure if a species is really extinct or not. They talk a bit about animals we thought were gone that suddenly reappeared out of nowhere. Super interesting, go check it out. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella and thank you for watching.
Cool. All right, so yeah, we saw just some interesting, mass hysteria things. I've always found those types of things pretty interesting, mostly just from the psychological perspective of what you know. You can explain away usually, well, somewhat explain away something like a single hysterical person, right? There's so many things about our brain and psychology that we still don't understand, but we know people can absolutely be prone to hysterical moments. But when you have mass hysteria, right? Bunch of people that said they saw the sun doing weird things, but were they already prone to maybe that being happened as it was a prophecy first, and then they show up and just get you get the confirmation bias, isn't that what that's called in psychology, of that happening? But then like the people laughing in the village first. I know, I get it. If it's all right, during your class period, everyone's laughing, but there were said that there were some people that were consistently laughing for like 16 days. That's when it's getting to definitely the unhealthy mass hysteria level. And it was gone the Holy Roman Empire, with some of the dancing, and again I'm glad he inserted that in history. Hysterical episodes were usually often diagnosed as some kind of demonic possession or something similar. That's something supernatural, right? And doing that, and unfortunately, a lot of people were probably they try to do these exorcisms, or shoot, they just think they're demonic, and maybe that leads to executions or something like that. When today we have so many medical explanations and treatable things for that. So usually when stuff like that happens, people don't chalk it up to the supernatural these days, right? But interesting how that kind of is when you look at like Salem witch trials or something, or when they think there's these supernatural events happening and attribute it to demonic possession, or something like that. So the only one I think I'd heard of, the one with the moving sun or whatever, I swear I had heard that one before, but having all these different accounts obviously discredits some of it. But always interesting, right? When you hear about those, it's almost like when you hear about like alien abduction stories or something throughout history. The more you talk about that stuff, the more it seems to happen, because people have it kind of implanted in their mind, right? And you see those things throughout history and they change. And always interesting how science will overcome what was done in history, right? That's been a big thing with scientific progressions, accounts for things in history that may have seemed unexplainable when we find out more and more natural explanations, right, of things. Well, anyway, good, pretty, although some kind of crazy stuff, pretty lighthearted, little moments of history there from Sam. So that was great. Yeah, always good to kind of take a break with Sam, right, and get that funny bone going. So I'm not sure if I was able to add much historical context to much there, but I know it's just kind of interesting, makes for an interesting point of topic. If you know of other mass hysteria events like throughout history, share them in the comments, or better yet, if you have not joined our Discord server, there'll be a link down below. Definitely join. We have currently, as this is posted, we have over 3,000 members. Very active community of just history fans, and love to talk about anything like that, of topics, any topic you could think of. So definitely do that. It's a great way to interact with the community, interact with a bunch of like-minded people there. Also a great place for video suggestions. I get a lot of video suggestions happening there, and there's a specific channel in the Discord for video suggestions. A little bit easier to keep track of that way. Also, if you would like to support the channel, definitely plug the Patreon. Go down to the description. I have a link to there. Right now, all tier levels, basically starting at $1, are able to participate in a weekly poll for videos that get on this channel. Today, if you are watching this today, I posted a new poll with 3 new videos. So if you'd like to have a little more influence, check that out. It's a great way to support the channel as well. All right, with that, make sure, if you like the original video, go down to the description below and give them a like and subscribe over there to Sam. And I think we'll go ahead and call it here. All right, have a good day. Bye.